New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone. 2024.
Yes, welcome back to Reality Speaks TV.
Yes.
It's your lady Sparkle.
And you have Yakarious here.
Welcome.
Welcome. It's January 14th. It's the
Yes.
first show for the year.
It feels good to be back.
Holidays is over.
Been wanting to slap the shit out of 2023. We made it.
Yes, we made it. So, here we are.
Here we are.
We, prayerfully this year, we want to continue the conversations that we've been having in the couples of collaboration. We did
Yes.
3 interviews.
Yes.
In the last part of 2023. And it appeared that people were interested, the numbers were decent, so it was worth us continuing. Plus, we think the work is important.
Yes.
Most importantly. So, did you want to do like a little review of?
I would love to do a review. So we spoke with 3 couples, like you mentioned, and the most memorable was all of them. Like I felt like every single last one of them had something new to offer. You know, Yakarious and I, compared to those couples, are like infant stage of our relationship, right? So what I've learned from all 3 of them is that it takes work. You know, a 4-letter word, like Yakarious like to say. So that work to me has been very hard and challenging. However, the rewards has been fruitful. So I just learned that patience and it takes work. So it's not just like, oh, all the time. That was the thing that I learned because those couples had like 10 years plus. Yeah, all 3 of them, really. Yeah. How about you?
So, if you're asking me, what I got from it, I think the most important thing that I heard from all 3 couples is that, I mean, they were averaging. I think the youngest was 14 years and the oldest had 20 years, if my memory serves me. Um, and they still are going through stuff, right? So it was important for me to hear that. Like, it never stops. Which means that so if we want to be in a relationship, then we have to constantly be ready to cope with relating to someone, and that can mean a lot depending on the individual that you're trying to relate to. Whether they want to let you in or not, whether they have their fence walls up, whether bringing baggage, and there's a lot of things involved with trying to relate to someone, giving them space when they need it, and vice versa. Maybe giving too much space, and uh, but I think in addition to that, it's the self for me, right? Fighting those thoughts, fighting attractions, fighting temptations. That's when it really matters, man, because you can easily bring something into the relationship, which we're gonna call a virus, right?
Oh
We're
yeah.
gonna talk about the virus.
We definitely
You know,
got
I
to talk
have
about the
labeled
virus.
this virus that has an impact on relationships. But
So
let's
what is the virus? So, let's ease right on in there. Why not?
yeah. So I'm calling it a mental virus. Just like we think in terms of viruses. We usually think of like colds and flus,
That's what I was thinking.
COVID, and things like that, which is physical. Um, and yet, yes,
Yes.
beloved. So I'm like, is he visible?
Yes.
All right, now, okay. So I just want to touch on this real quick. Oh, you want to introduce yourself real quick, beloved?
How y'all doing? My name Abdul Kasim.
Mm-hmm. How you doing? Everything good? Welcome. So, just real quick to finish what I was saying about this virus. So maybe you can, get start a conversation and grasp this concept. Um, all of those viruses are physical, but I'm saying there's a mental virus. Um, so, and it's similar to like what we use in technology. Like, so we say your phone has a virus, your laptop has a virus, that type of thing. It's a concept of the mind where our mind gets a virus and it's pretty much programmed, becomes kind of influenced, not programmed, but influenced to think a certain way. So, an example would be uh, I don't know, you go to a show and a guy says, you're standing online and the guy says, listen, uh, I heard this show wasn't all that because my friend went to see it last week.
Mhm.
So now when you go sit down waiting for this individual to perform, you're thinking of this thought and you're expecting the worst now. You want to look out for something bad based on this statement, which we're going to call the virus, right?
That's right.
Okay. Um, or you may not even know a person. You know, you could be at work, you could be anywhere, and the person is saying, someone comes to you and says, I know that individual over there, and kind of whispers something to you in your ear that
That's right.
they know or that they heard. They may not even know it. It's something that they heard. And now you can't help but when you see this person, look at them based on what this person is telling you. Like you have to take it with a grain of salt. You can't ignore it if it's something negative. So this is another example of the virus. And lastly, I'll just give one quickly as far as relationships is concerned. The virus comes in that form, and there's a few of them, but a typical one is girlfriends and male friends, right? Okay,
Yeah.
especially if you have some friends, male or female, that don't have anyone and you're in a relationship. So what's gonna happen is, um, first of all, they're gonna try to draw you away. They're gonna probably enjoy the fact that you're not getting along with your spouse. Or this is the real virus. If they're having problems in their relationship, if they're having problems in their relationship, what's gonna happen is when you're talking to your friends and you say, "Yeah, my girl is this or my man is this," and da 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 da. So now you hear that a few times a day from a few different girlfriends. Soon as you see your man, you're starting to look at him like, "Let me find out what's wrong with him," because there seems to be something wrong with every man, right?
Right.
So that's the vibe. We have to be careful with our friends and what they're saying to us because they're venting, but at the same time they're kind of passing a mental virus and we don't realize it.
People, places, and things. Like
Mhm.
when you're in a relationship and you're building, you want to build and rebuild, build trust or whatever have you. Not everyone should come with us. Like, ladies and gentlemen, when you're in a relationship and you have friends, you have grown to a certain level. If you're a group of girlfriends that was all single, then one of the group of girlfriends that was single finds a man or gets a man or gets their person. Now, some of that, we call it natural, that people be jealous of other people's relationship and they wish they would have had it. So they say things like, oh, this and oh, that, and kind of plant that virus in you. And you take that, oh, this, and you take that, oh, that with you to the relationship. And I think that's where we have to discipline ourselves not to listen to our friends and family members in that way.
Mm. So let me ask the brother a question. You
Yes.
mind?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, pull you on. Can you hear me, beloved?
Yeah, I can hear you clear.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you find when you're out there interacting with black women and you may be looking at them in a little more intimate way, do you find that black women are angry?
Yeah,
You do?
to be
So
honest.
this is something, and just I'm gonna let you speak. I just want to say we're not gonna do this to put women down. We want to understand a problem that impacts our relationships. But anyway, go ahead, beloved.
I think when it comes to relationships, first and foremost, I think that we forget that God come first, you know, in every situation. And a lot of problems we have in relationships, we don't go to God. We always try to go to human beings and all these other people instead of going to God first. Having that structure and believing and having God in that relationship, keep a relationship strong. That's what I strongly believe in. But that's a culture thing. I believe in our culture, a lot of black women is angry because of what they've been through. You know, they've been through a lot. So, a lot of them is hurt and angry. and they've been mistreated, and it starts with the brothers because we mistreat our black women, you know. But I think the key that we're missing in relationships now is God. You know, as a Muslim, I know if I was in a relationship, we would have to go to an advisor first, a spiritual advisor. I encourage everybody that's in a relationship to have a spiritual advisor, which is the imam, or it could be the chaplain, it could be the pastor. You know, go for some spiritual guidance when it comes to these relationship.
Okay, brother, buffering a little bit.
So that's interesting because he's saying God. That's a very great point. But not everyone is into God, right? Not everyone is into and that could possibly be the issue, right? But like, so it has to be like a spiritual advisor. Hold on, we're getting you back to the stage, brother.
I
There
keep,
you are.
I don't know why, but my camera keep cutting out, and I apologize for that.
That's okay. We're gonna make it happen, though, because you actually said some good things, right?
You know, I just
Um, you said some
my
good things. Go ahead, but go
um,
ahead. You can finish.
I just believe that believing in God, it gives us all that structure, and that's who we should go to first when we have these problems. Pray together, read our Quran together, go to service together. When we keep that, that's our foundation, God first. And I
Mhm.
believe that that's the number one healing in relationships, especially in a household and with black women, black men, because our black women is damaged and so is our black men.
Mhm.
So one point is that suppose I'm not ready, to live a structured religious lifestyle, right? So the other alternative is to just become spiritual, get into your spiritual self, nurture your spiritual self at the very least, right?
Right.
So that you can find peace with yourself, because what we've learned, Sparkle and myself, is that um if you're not right with yourself, you can't be right with somebody else, right?
That's right.
That's just the bottom line. If you a hot mess and you full of trauma, whatever the case, then it needs to be addressed, because we bring that to relationships,
Yeah.
right? And we're not addressing it the proper way.
And a lot of us are lying. We talk about the imposter syndrome, right?
hmm
Like a lot of us are egotistical and full of pride. A lot of us are shucking and jiving, should I say, like, not being upfront with the circumstances because they think that it might detour the person or scare them away. They might not be interested. You might be in a situation where the guy or the girl is homeless, but they might not want to disclose that. Or they might not even feel the confidence to even enter a relationship. Where I feel like most relationships, or the best relationships, are the ones that you could go through the test of time. Or when you meet someone when you're not 100%. You meet someone when you're down on your luck versus when you're already, got yourself together. I don't know. It goes, what do you think about that? Like,
So yeah, I think listening to you makes me think of how inadequate as men many of us feel, because we're not getting the type of jobs that pays enough money to take care of a family, right? So I mean, you can get a job, but it's not enough.
right.
Not compared to, if you look at the comparisons of what other demographics making than us. You see, it's really not enough to take care of a family. Like, you can buy a house, or have pay down a down payment, and pay your mortgage, and have a brand new. We have to struggle with everything we do. So it does something to a man. It frustrates us. It aggravates us. It's really kind of discouraging, because we can't financially take care of our
That's
family, and as a man, we want to.
So why do you think that is? Because I feel like that's deliberate, right? It's a systematic issue.
Right.
It's kind of like the papers that we were just talking about. It's some things are just designed in a way and structured in a way that no matter how hard you try, how hard you study, you just can't overcome, because it seems like as if it was, and not it seems like it was actually structured that way to keep us to this place. So that same frustration comes home. It comes home to the black woman, to the woman, period. It's not even a race at this point. I think what the brother mentioned about culture is very important. But honestly, it's
What
just
happened to him?
um
Is he still there?
well, he was talking about the fact that he was having some
Oh,
technical
okay.
difficulties he apologized in advance. So it's just that narrative right there. So it's like, how can you provide when there's nothing, nobody breaking down the door to offer you an opportunity to provide? So it was structured in a way that they can't be in our home, remove the man from the family, and then, that's big frustration. So are we angry or are we abandoned?
So I think the opportunity is becoming aware, right? Getting knowledge of what's going on. That's the opportunity. That's what we're presenting here.
That's right.
Taking a look at it because I think we're not conscious because when we speak of generational differences, this is something that, and we want to kind of talk about the root of it in another form because I want to keep it in a relationship vein.
Yeah.
And if we speak about the root of it, it's going to take us into another vein, which is important for us to do at some point, if we're going to be real talk,
That's
real
right.
people
That's
in real
right.
time. At one point, we have to look at the root of what you were saying.
So I want to give a shout out to Zenzi. Zenzi, we were talking to her, and she offered some advice and some insight about how to guide us to. What do you remember about a conversation? Because what I remember is just she feels like we give up on relationships too much now. Like nobody's in it for the long haul. Any slight inconvenience, people are like running the other way. I don't. That's what I really remember that stood out to me. Do you remember anything that she?
So Zenzi was basically talking about the frustration of her of relationships in general. And the obvious one for Zenzi is that she didn't feel the freedom to come on as much as she wanted to because of the relationship she's in, right? She didn't think that her partner would approve of her coming live. And I think this is happening with many of our guests. For one reason or another, they don't want to come on and face the public or have the public see their face and attach it to what's being said. And we get it in some cases, especially if it's going to impact a partner.
Okay.
That's what I remember the most.
That's right.
Right.
And I wanted to ask the brother a question before he. Yeah, and next time we're just gonna go straight into our question with him because I wanted to ask him something and see, where his perspective lies.
Okay, is he back?
So about that, oop, here we go.
Okay, there we go.
There you go.
What's the question?
Good evening, Onika. You have anything that you want to add? I'll read it out loud. This is from Facebook Live. Okay, my question for you, young man, is how long? When would you know when that lady for you is marriage material? Like, do you know after the first date? Do you know after 3 months, 6 months? Like, what is? How do you gauge that? Can you hear me? Oh wait, can you hear? No.
Oh, maybe he's buffering.
Oh, all right. So that was the question that I have for him.
Okay.
It's kind of like a little weird to ask you that because it's a complicated.
Right.
But
how about the other question, and which is
Good question right there.
okay.
all right, there we go.
You can hear me?
Yes.
I'm just
You know,
gonna.
I just think, in the beginning, it takes time. It definitely you gotta give it 6 months. You know what I mean? You gotta just take time because some people rush because they want to be in a relationship for all the wrong reasons. And then once y'all smash, no disrespect, or y'all rush and then y'all do all these things and get it out the way, a person no longer have interest in you no more. See, people get in relationships nowadays for the wrong reasons. Most of us is looking for long term, somebody that we could grow old with, somebody that could be patient with us, somebody that's God fearing, that's in it to win it. Nowadays, people want temporary relationships. They just want the sex.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just the things that really have no value. But it also depends on where you are on your journey, your perception, your maturity level, things like that too. Hey, Angela, thanks for watching.
So I think to add on to what he was saying too is that I think we don't get to know people. We don't get to know a person before we start thinking in terms of commitment. I think we but you want to finish your thoughts? Are you back, right?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry about me
That's
cutting
okay.
cut back in. I'm
Listen.
sorry about that. I don't know if it's my phone or I'm not on a laptop, but
Okay.
when it comes to relationships, I definitely think it takes time. You got to be patient. You got to take your time, and it just take time. Don't rush it, because once you rush it and go right in, it always crash. I'm speaking from experience. Since I've been home from incarceration, I rushed relationships, being lonely, and they didn't go good. you
Right.
know,
Right.
because when you meet somebody that they put it out there like they're this perfect person, and you will have this perfect picture of them in a short amount of time, and then after a while, you'll be like, "Whoa, that's not who I thought this was." You get
Mm. Right. Right. You have a
So,
comment,
yeah,
right?
I'm going to read Onika's comment. Thank you, Onika. Everyone is rushing to have sex, and with that, having expectations, but the other person doesn't see that line viewing cross as a level of indication of any commitment. For them, it's just sex. But ask them to describe the level of their relationship, and they are on two different wavelengths, pretty much.
Mm.
And thanks for your contribution, Onika. And that's exactly it. Everyone has their own method to their madness, but it doesn't have to be something valuable, right?
Mm.
Which can't be long lasting.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
you heard what Onika said, right? Like, I mean, well, when I read about what
So
Onika.
it also depends on what you value, like what's in your principles, like what are some values? Some values for some people are the sex has to be good, right? So if you meet someone in this and the sex is good right off the muscle, then that might be all you need. We're gonna work around everything else. Everything else gonna fall into place because this is the most important thing to me. But then as you grow, and like you said, I think you was alluding to it earlier. Once you have a few experiences, you have a few relationships, bad ones, short ones, mistakes, bad choices, then you start realizing, wait, this little quick sex thing is really about nothing as you get older and mature. That, it's important to have a friend, someone that you like. These become the new values, not just whether you can meet me at the hotel. Nobody got to know. I'll meet you in the next town and all that. All that stuff gets old after a while. And you start looking for something that's worth something, someone that you can count on, rely on, not just for sex, but that's going to be there for you in the financial need, in the medical emergency, car emergency. You want to be able to call on this person for everything, not just for a booty call, right? And not just when you get lonely. So I think that's important. And
Yes.
yeah, yeah, another comment.
Yeah, she's Onika saying that people have to be honest. That's what
Yeah,
I was saying.
right, right.
Everybody lying.
Right.
People out here just not being truthful.
Mm.
And she said you have to be honest about the intent early on. It's about the intention. What are your intents with me? But people don't really feel worthy sometimes too within themselves to even think that they can get a person like this.
Mm.
So they come in and they self sabotage a lot. Some of us self sabotage, not thinking that we're worthy of.
Mm.
Welcome back, brother.
But I have a question for you, and then we can chime in after it.
Yes.
So the question is, what about women, and probably some men too, but I want to focus more on women that have a long list, a long checklist of things that the male has to fit in order for them to even spend any time with this guy. He got to be working, have a car, and have his own place. Those are the top three. He got to be good looking, this one, good dresser, nice talker, good teeth. It's about 10 or 12 of them, right? And and if they don't meet, so what do you think about? Do you think that the expectations is too high today? Do you think it's too much? Do you think we should be working with some men? If you see potential, we may not be working. We looking for a job. Maybe give him some time.
I think
You-
that, yeah, that, thank you. That's a very good thing.
Okay.
Because I'm the only one in my crew of girlfriends who took the have children and be in a relationship route. Whereas they were like, oh, going off to college, they weren't having a family. So now they're all graduated. Now they got all their degrees,
Mm.
but they lonely. They don't have one person that they can talk to. Let me get this guest in here. Um, and things like that. So I feel like if some of my sisters need to lower their standards only so they can meet the man halfway and help the man. Like us, we have so much power within us. We can nurture, we can help guide, but some of us are so depressed from being oppressed and, I'm not gonna say miserable or bitter, but we kind of sour, and resentful. A lot of us, and I ain't helping him do nothing. He can't. But I think that's not the right energy. I think the energy should be what if there's some type of energy or chemistry between you and the guy or your person, you should be able to help one another reach the goal. So
Is
that's what I think.
chemistry and is chemistry ever on this list? Does it have to be good chemistry, or does it have to be Do our souls have to be um mating, like be connected somehow? Is that ever on the list?
For me, it is. But
I'm
some
talking about the
people,
list of your
the,
girlfriend, or any
I
girl,
don't,
any woman.
it's not, I don't hear about
Right,
it.
right,
I don't
right,
hear, it may be on their list, but I don't hear about it.
right.
They all got their degrees, their fancy jobs, their money, they got their status and
Right,
everything.
right.
But they won't talk to a man who live in the projects.
Mm.
They won't talk to a man who doesn't have a job. They don't talk to a man who doesn't have a car. They don't talk to a man who's not 6 feet tall and all these things. I think that if they just get to know a person for a person and let all those things work itself out.
Right.
Because if you invest in anything, school, job, work, whatever, you always get what you provide. So if the person is not on your level like that, perhaps working together, you can reach your
Let's
goals.
see if we can get the brother.
Yeah, yeah, back.
Standards
Yeah,
is
real quick.
definitely a big thing. I've been single for a whole year, and that's one of the main reasons why. It's because of standards.
Mm.
The standards is way too high. It's not. You're not accepting men for who they are. You're not forgiving them of their past. You're not understanding. It's just what society and social media saying. This girl, she made a song, 7 foot, 8 foot, 6 figure type, and all. It's just this. It's this image that they putting out there that is ruining relationships. The standards is too high, sisters. I'm just saying. That's why it's hard for me for marriage. Because every time I talk to a female, they just, oh, where you work at? How much you make? Do you got this? What kind of car you drive? Standards is way too high. Let's get back to the basics, the real love. You know what I mean? Let's get back to the affection and our souls. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear about money every 5 minutes and what I got. You know what I mean? For 2 minutes. Because when we go to the grave, we can't take none of that with us. You know what I mean? The standards is definitely too high. I mean, I'm speaking from experience. The sisters want way too much. I mean, everybody want an NBA player, somebody NFL, whatever. But I mean, just lower the standards just a little bit and meet the.
Meet the person where they at.
I just wanted to say, I wanted to point out that for me, I've learned to value chemistry with the person that like we have, right?
Yes, we do.
So for me, that's the most important thing. If I'm getting along with you,
It's a vibe.
then that's not something that comes along every day, right? When you develop this type of friendship, it doesn't come along every day. And so for me to get it, I'm gonna value and cherish it, right? So for me, that's the most important thing. No, everything else can be worked on, and that's what's happening. We're working on everything else, right? Uh, the other thing for me was frustration. I think it's a major, major issue in relationships, and it's coming at us so subtle we don't even realize it. but it has a powerful impact. The
Mhm.
frustration that we experience in relationships, and we've heard other couples talk about it. But what I can say personally about this frustration is that sometimes we give frustration to a partner that's not meant for them. Right? We could bring it from work. We could bring it from listen to our girlfriends or our friends all day. Listen to them just venting about what they doing. And we just come and just explode on our partner because, you know,
Well, that's exactly
you
what Cynthia was talking about yesterday.
know.
She's talked about her family member who her relationship with her man is fine. There's no issues.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's right.
because she comes on with her cousins and she hears all her cousins' issues, she automatically think like she goes to her man like, "What's up with you? What you doing?" and kind of antagonizing him. And the man didn't even do anything, but because she heard all her four, five, six different cousins talk about these failed relationships, how they cheating and doing wrong and doing all these things that are like no deal breakers. So that is causing her to bring that tension to her man when he's doing anything wrong, put her in a house and everything. But she's looking for conflict because of the other. That's the virus. Like she don't like the Zinzi was saying. She's blessed. She's nothing but blessed. She has everything that she might want to need. But because there's no drama, she thinks that he's doing something like going to him saying, "You think I'm stupid?" Poor man, not even doing anything. That's what That's another issue. Onika says, "It's all if all they are looking for is a hookup, then say that and give the person the option to decide if they are trying to flow on that level or not."
Exactly. And that was actually said to me too, Anika, about by someone that I was dating a long time ago. I was a friend, and
Ooh.
several years ago, we had this conversation. She said, "I don't know why guys just don't, they want to have sex. Why don't they just say that instead of telling you they love you?" Right? That was she was saying. Like, stop telling me you love me and you don't love me. All you want to do is, and then be open and honest. And then she said, men will be surprised that there's some women with that if you come that way. But at least, as you know, as being pointed out, allow the woman to have the option of the truth. Like, if it's just gonna be that, then you move like that, right? If that's what it's gonna be. But if you want to be in love with someone, say you want to marry them just to get them to, have sex with you for, it's too much. It's too much because what I'm learning is that when you connect to someone's soul, it's a very serious thing.
Don't play with it. Don't play with it.
We say a woman's scorn, but it's deeper than that, man. Somebody's soul is disturbed like
Those
that.
soul ties
It's,
hit
it's, it's a
different.
little deeper than your heart being broken, man. That soul get hit, right? Um, but a broken heart ain't no joke either, and all of that together is all one thread.
Mm.
And it's deep, brothers, man. We have to, we can't play with people's emotions and souls, man. We gotta, this is where I'm at, man. No matter how hard it is for me, I have to deny myself to make sure that I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
It's interesting if you know what I mean,
that's
right?
right. So, and it's interesting because another thing about telling our loved ones our business, right? So I think it's best to like get on a bus, take a walk, find a stranger far away from your town, and tell them all your business.
Mhm.
Because when you tell your friends and family your business, you don't make up with your person, y'all ain't got back together, and your loved one that you told all that gripe to, guess what? They might be holding an undercover grudge against the person that did some hurt for you in that minute. But we forget that the person that we telling possibly hurt us already too, or did something to us that is undesirable. Like that's what our loved ones do. But if we're venting to one another, doesn't mean that we're gonna leave. When we go to our friend event, we would like to hear what you were saying earlier. Hey man, just work it out. Try to find a way. Is there anything? Maybe is it possible that you guys were having a bad day? You go to your friend and family now. I told you that bitch was that. I told you that man. I told you he wasn't. There's not enough of us encouraging one another to stay together. The first thing is to abandon ship. And that doesn't always have to be the response and solution to it.
Well, we like to use the word toxic a lot. You hear that when we talk about relationships.
We was toxic.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So we hear this term being used, and I've been thinking about this word because usually when something is toxic, They tell you if you say you can't eat something that's toxic, right? Because it could kill you.
That's right.
So anything that's toxic, if you have a plant that's toxic it's gonna kill you. It has the potential of taking your life.
Poison.
Right? There's no difference in a toxic relationship when you really look at it. Because what makes it toxic is the frustration and stress of it. Right? The danger too, but there's a lot of stress and that's what's killing us, man. That raises the blood pressure. It affects us physically, you know?
Yes.
So, but even if your relationship is not at the level of being toxic, but you're still going through some frustration and stress, then work on trying to alleviate it. That's what we're working on because it is something that affects your health. And right now, we're trying to live healthy lifestyles, physically, mentally, emotionally. And we can't do that being toxic, right?
That's right.
Right.
I just plugged in and I lost. Well, I don't mean not toxic. I lost some weight from the last time I got weight.
Right.
And I want to keep up the healthy lifestyle, healthy mind, healthy living. There's some other things that I wanted to touch on too that I took notes about. Eye contact. Um,
Eye contact.
yeah, how important is eye contact? You know, some cultures look at it like, I know in Islam, giving eye contact, you're supposed to the female's supposed to lower her gaze.
And the male.
And the
Both.
male.
Yeah, both men
Okay.
and women are supposed to lower their gaze. What does that mean?
That means don't give eye contact?
Right. So don't get caught up. Like, if you happen to catch
Lock
eyes with
eyes.
somebody, don't start staring. Lower the gaze. Respect for her because she may be married. You could be married, and definitely should be doing it. Be married, right? So that's what they mean by lower the gaze. So I find myself trying to avoid locking eyes with people as I travel through. Throughout the day. Because you also kind of send a message when you do that to them, and I don't want to do that either.
Yeah, I had to let go of a so-called friend recently, which was like a death, right? Like when you're in a relationship, you have to, set your priorities. So I felt like this person didn't respect our relationship. This person was always trying to hook me up with someone else and thought it was okay. Maybe that would have been me 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but I'm changed. I'm in a intimate relationship. Yeah, we argue. Yeah, we don't get along. We don't see eye to eye all the time. That doesn't mean I'm going to leave my man. I'm starting a new life with someone. So he is a part of who I am becoming. I'm becoming a different woman. I'm not who I used to be. So, and then you look at the person, this person never really had a successful relationship. They never had a relationship growing up. So we kind of got to be mindful who we are watching, who we are taking advice from, and all of that. I think it's best that, like the young brother said, have some type of spiritual guidance, whether it's meditating together, having affirmations together, words of affirmations together. Even that can be like a spiritual bond. But to go to someone else and try to get advice on your relationship, you have to be very mindful of that. Maybe even get somebody on a professional level, somebody unbiased to both of us. But a friend or a family member, unless that person is rooting from the relationship and trying to keep us together, otherwise it's really, really a challenge to uphold. So what I wanted to talk about was I just found that, which really tells the
I wanted
dynamic.
to say something about what
Okay,
you're saying,
let me hear.
without, because you brought up this interesting subject about, I think there was a running joke like, how can a marriage counselor give marriage counseling to someone and have never been married, right? Because this is like a running joke. Like some of these marriage counselors has never been married, but they're gonna give you advice on how to have a successful marriage, right? And I think this is along the lines of what you're saying is like we have to be careful who we're getting advice from because it doesn't mean that their intentions is bad.
That's right.
Right? But what that means is someone that shouldn't really be giving advice about relationships because they haven't had a successful one. That's all that means. Hi Heather. Yeah, Heather.
Yeah, I have that.
So that's basically what that means. Like we have to be careful giving advice to other people. If we've never
And giving it
and
getting
and
it.
getting it
Yeah.
from, we have to filter who we're getting it from because
filter is a
Yeah,
definite
and
influence.
they're gonna keep you on a certain level. They're not gonna be able to take you to that level of love that you need to have that type of understanding and empathy and remorse for the things that you did wrong. You know, it just hits different because of the power of love. But you have to experience to know what you're willing to go through and forgive in order to maintain it and to keep it.
Yes. And then I wanted to say, I really like that point that you made.
Hmm.
So the other thing that I wanted to say is the eye contact. I'm really aggressive about it. We talked about it. But what about being clingy? So one man's or woman's clingy, like always got to be like attached to somebody, can be an or controlling, what people call it, can be another man's ability to cultivate emotions and feel more, which potentially may lead to an understanding, and that understanding can create a dynamic in this relationship that may have been missing before. So we look at being clingy. Oh, I need my space. I need my space. But someone being clingy or always being for you to get your attention or getting can be a gateway for understanding, for a deep understanding, and where some things can be changed. So, what do you think about that clinginess? Because, well, first of all, to the people, do you think I'm clingy?
Yeah, you very clingy. She clinging now, right?
Oh my goodness, are you clingy?
Not as clingy as you know.
There's a lot of truth ain't in it.
All right, so but I think what happens is that if one partner is clingy and the other one is as not as much as in this situation, then um I think it needs to be compromised. Like as in every situation that you find yourself with, you're like on two sides of the street, so to speak, when it comes to certain things, right? Then it has to be compromised. And so in this case, that's exactly what we do. I know you need your moments of cleanliness and prayerfully, I need a few moments of space. So um that's what we have to do instead of making an issue, because as anything else, we could turn it into an issue. It could become a thing in the relationship. It could become a thing. And so we have to be careful and mindful that we don't want anything to become a thing, especially when it's minor. We don't want to make it major, right? But our emotions can, and the way we certain thought processes. Once we start thinking a certain way, oh, you just ain't gonna hold me, huh? Or it might even go so far where I'm not attractive to you anymore. Why? Are you holding somebody else? Why you don't want to touch me? We could get caught on one of them thoughts, take a flying carpet ride on it, never come back. On this, oh, he's holding somebody else. You don't want to touch me no more. It don't have to be the truth,
That's
right?
right.
So that's just one small example of how things can go crazy sometimes.
We definitely have to manage that monkey mind. That's what we
We
like to
call it
call the
monkey.
monkey
That's
mind.
what you call it, the monkey.
Because some of our imagination has wings, right? And we get a thought in our mind, we add wings to it, add a little drink to the wings, and we take off. Like we are gone with the races, and nothing can talk us down to that thought. So that's what I was talking about, self-sabotaging. A lot of us self-sabotage in relationships because of our thought patterns. Whatever we might be thinking about a thing, bring that to the partner, and the partner kind of has to straighten us out. Like, that's not true. I think that you might be thinking different, but to us is law. So we have to be mindful of our monkey mind, mind.
So I have a question for you, Sparkle. What is the most valuable lesson you think you learned from 2023 relationship wise that you want to bring into 2024?
What I have learned that I would like to bring into 2024.
Yeah, that's positive. Something that's going to help us move
So
forward.
I learned that I have to utilize my time priorities, meaning family first, family and personal life first, which means our relationship along with my children has to be first. That's what I've learned in 2023, because I've been in situations where I had to relocate, I had to move, and the only people who were available to me during that time was my family, so was you. So it made me realize that I have to prioritize my relationships. So our relationship, my relationship with my children are paramount. They come first.
Okay.
And I want to bring that to 2024 and beyond. And Heather has mentioned something. And before we go to Heather, oh no, she's talking about clingy. I wanted to ask you the same question.
Okay, and then we'll come back to Heather.
Yes.
Okay, so for me, I think the most important lesson in 2023 that I'm trying to bring to 2024 is I've learned this past year how powerful love is when it comes to how the energy you bring to your relationship, right?
Mhm.
Because I learned that it's so easy to bring a mean spirit or become emotional, become angry and upset. Like I could do that in a blink of an eye, right? But it doesn't accomplish anything. It actually drives drives a bigger wedge in the relationship, and instead of making one foot forward, we're doing 10 steps backwards. You know, with that energy. What I've learned is that when I dig deep and try to find the love to handle a situation instead of my frustration and my anger and my emotions, when I let my love handle it and be my conductor, right?
Mhm.
Uh, then there's better results. The energy is better. There's more peace. So I need more of that for 2024, right? We need to spread that.
Yes.
And if we love each other, we shouldn't be talking to each other crazy anyway, right?
Take the bass out your voice.
And the content in some cases,
That's
use a
right.
filter. You serious one, you know,
Mm.
and included our and we're included in this love is that just we have to move away from the past in order to move
You
forward.
better say
So
that.
we have to love enough to do that.
You better say that,
But
Yakarious.
let's see what Heather's talking
So
about.
Heather, hi Heather, thank you for listening.
Mm,
Do you think if someone is clingy, it's because they are not getting the attention they need from their partner sometimes?
mm.
You go first.
So I think in my case, I'm not going to speak for myself. I think I grew up as a lonely child, even though I had siblings. Like, you know, my siblings was the one next to me was 16 years older than me. So my mother waited like 16 years. She had 4 children. She waited 16 years, got remarried, and then had me. So they were all like pretty much gone as I was growing up. I grew up as an only child, even though I had 3 brothers and a sister.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think my loneliness as a child has never been satisfied. I used to be kind of envious of the family next door. I had a bunch of brothers and sisters. Actually, I used to go over there and hang out as a child. You know, we grew up together. I grew up as family with them because, so I just want to be lonely. So I did as a child. Now, what we do as an adult? What would you do as a senior? You know, we do more adult things. We do more, you know, we go out and we may get involved with somebody that we may necessarily, you know, just not to be lonely for that night or whatever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that answered your question a little bit, but I just think that in these relationships, if we don't have someone in our life, and you can, I guess you could be in a relationship and still feel a little lonely, you know, if you're not getting the attention from that person or vice versa. But in those cases, there needs to be open communication, and it has to be mature and adult because it can be sensitive, right? It can be sensitive, you know, for a woman to tell a man, listen, I need more attention from you, not satisfying me, whatever the case may be, or vice versa, you know. I think the woman will have to feel fear because there's so many women out here that's looking for men that she's afraid that, you know, well, you already messing around with somebody. So I think the intelligent thing, the smart thing to do is find a way to have this open communication, even though if it's gonna be difficult with the person you're with, then you might have to get a third person involved, fourth person. find a way to trick them into this kind because it's so important to keep the relationship alive. I know
Yeah.
about that.
Well, that's fine. I think that to Heather's question, do you think it's because they're not getting the attention that they need from their? I think that the answer will be yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And in my case, it's I think that I want the attention. I desire the attention because the attention or the what I'm trying to get from you, it represents my love language. My love language is touch, right? One of them is touch and feel. Like I want to be this close. I want to smell you. I want to like you know, look at you just
right. No, yeah.
so for me, that's what that is. Like I want to be able to. I don't even have to say anything. I could just touch you, smell you, see, and kind of sense you. Is using my one of my senses to see where you at and how I can be comforting or how I can help. Or maybe I just really need that hug. I've been abandoned a lot. For me, I always like to feel secure about who I'm with by being touched by him, being touched, being caressed, being So that is where I'm at
But
with it.
suppose you're being deprived of it, though. Well, suppose you was deprived of it at a young age, like in some cases, then you were gonna probably want that a little more, be a little more clingy. Um,
Or you might not even know what you listen if you never had it. You never know what it is anyway. Welcome back, brother Kabir.
hmm
Appreciate it. Pleasure to be here.
Okay, I thought you was gonna jump in, but yeah, I think too that so what I'm for me, I admit that emotion. I'm a certain age physically, but emotionally, I'm not the same age. I'm a lot younger emotionally, right? No fault of my own. And I realize it when I'm in a relationship with somebody more than ever, right? And I think vice versa. Some women I met are not the same age emotionally as they are physically. And that comes with the root of that is it could be many things, you know, why we didn't grow up. Maybe we had to grow up too fast. Maybe at 15 we had to be taking care of our brothers and our sisters and trying to find money from her or whatever. We missed that child, and so, in some way we didn't grow, you know.
Right.
And that might be too deep. That's might be too psychological, but I feel it. I feel that we've missed. I've missed something that I'm not emotionally as mature as I should be, but I'm getting there. It's getting better because I'm conscious of it.
So
Time.
we have about 7 minutes left.
7 minutes.
Yeah.
So prayerfully, in the next 2 weeks, we'll have a couple up. We'll be back to the couples collaboration, but we should mix this in too and have some single people. You definitely beloved. You definitely offer some insights. You was honest about the standards is high with some women.
I really was interested in what you had to say,
Right.
but technical difficulties. Prayerfully, next time it would be a more stable connection, so we could really pick your brain. I really had some questions for you. What we were just talking about when you entered was about being clingy. Like we call it clingy, but just showing a lot of affection, always wanting to be touched, hugged, things like that. What is your point of view about clinginess? Is that a sign of control, or is that a sign of vulnerability, or what?
I
What you
mean,
think?
I love
Oh, we lost him. Damn, man. I don't know what's going on. But I mean, if both people like to be clingy, that's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
I love to see
I
couples
heard
hugged up all the time, yeah, especially in the street.
public displays of
Yeah,
affection. That's
yeah.
another one.
Yeah, I don't have no problem with that. God.
Yeah.
I feel like the whole clingy thing, I love it. Somebody really showing you love and affection. A lot of us grew up without it. A lot of us grew up in single whole house parents. We never had that. So if a woman showing you that type of love or a man vice versa, embrace it, love it.
Mm,
I think that's a beautiful thing when somebody's clingy to you, somebody care about you, somebody's
yeah.
loving you. That's rare in this generation today. So somebody clingy, love it.
Yeah,
It's a lot of us that's lonely, wishing we had that. So,
that's a
I
fact.
think that's a beautiful
Talk
thing.
to
Your
him.
women is
That's
showing you
already
that
fact.
love, or your companion showing you that clinginess, that love, because being lonely is it's not fun. But I think that's a
So
beautiful thing.
I have a question for you, brother. You talked about women having high standards. Being that you're a Muslim man, do you feel like sometimes you have high standards? Because I'm familiar with Islam, and they go by whole different standards. So I was wondering. Yeah, I'm kind of confident that you're gonna come back into this into this. So do you feel like some men, Kamal, do you feel like some men might be having some high standards? Like, y'all
I,
standards might be too high. Y'all not finding y'all
that's
misses right.
true. I think that men have high standards too. A lot of men, oh, she gotta look like Beyonce. Oh, she need to wear this. Oh, we all as a whole need to lower our standards. We
Mhm.
care about what society think too much. I mean, far as me personally speaking, I just love a God fearing woman. I don't ask for much. Just fear God. And dress modesty. Show your respect for the Lord, and we could work something out. I just don't ask for much, but believing in God is number one for me. That's my main thing.
So you won't date a female who says I don't believe in God?
That's scary for me. I'm not
Mm.
gonna lie. That's like, we all got preference. So that's like one of the first things I ask a woman meeting her. Do you believe in God? You know, a woman
Well,
that believes
actually,
in
it's
God
in
is
Islam. They have to at least be a believing woman. They don't necessarily have to be a Muslim, but they have to be a believer, right?
right.
So
Christian,
that's where that's coming from.
So
Jewish.
she,
You could
she
be
could believe in
Jewish,
Jesus?
Yeah.
Christian.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
You could
Christian,
believe in.
okay.
You could, as long as you believe. I respect that.
We go work with that,
Right,
right? Some
right,
substance
right,
going on. I feel him
right,
on that.
right, right.
So
But I think men do have certain standards. They want the women to look a certain way. They want them to be a certain size. You got some women that just want to date short women, 5 feet. They want a real short woman, a lot shorter than them. You have some women want a lot thin woman. Some women like a healthy woman. Some like a big tall woman. We all have different tastes, and they have to have that. And you have some men that wants a woman with a job as well. You have some women that want a woman with a maybe her own car. I don't hear it as much. I don't hear as much. I don't think that men expect to get a woman with more than he has as much as a woman expect to get a man that has more than she has. Right? So, if we come up with a woman that got more money than us is making more us, we feel like we really hit the jackpot. Whereas if a woman get it, then she feel that no, that's what it's expected. She's entitled to it. So I think that's a little difference right there too.
But it looks like the tables have been changing nowadays.
Mm,
And the same thing about infidelity. It seems like it's trending.
it's trending.
Like it's these shows that if you don't these shows, these music is like if you don't have a side piece, a side chick, then you ain't winning. So and it just goes back to priorities. Like me having to lose a so called friend, it wasn't in alignment with our relationship. That's why we started this podcast, this platform to cultivate these healthy relationships, to learn from other people who are in relationships, how they cope with frustration and communicate, how they communicate for so many years. Like we have started to align. As a matter of fact, we created a platform for an alliance on couples staying together and staying together with substance and the tools that it takes to be successful, not only in their relationship with themselves, right? I mean, with each other, but our relationships with ourselves. Because as we cultivate this healthy relationship with a partner, we are also at the same time cultivating a healthy relationship with ourselves.
That's the
Because
main thing.
it's forcing us to get ourselves together,
That's a
right?
fact.
If this is a relationship worth working for, this is a relationship
Right.
worth sustaining.
Right.
If the benefits outweigh
Yeah.
is pros and cons, but
And
if
if a
there's no pros and
relationship
cons,
and if a relationship is forcing you to do better, think better, be healthier, then why are we hating that, right? Why? Because we gotta do some work. There's that 4 letter word. We gotta do that work. But we got somebody that's helping you stay alive, being accountable, making sure you're healthy, yada yada yada. So opposed to if you're a single person alone, you can be at home scratching yourself all over, do whatever you want to do. Ain't clean up your house in a week, you ain't accountable for nothing but yourself. We down to a minute, right?
Yes.
All right, guys, a couple weeks, prayerfully, we have a couple back.
Yes, and look, we're looking forward to having these healthy couples. We have a list, and we're getting dates together. So we're so excited about who we have joining us, and I want to give a special to our ghost guest here that's coming in and out, peekabooing with us.
But
any,
compare, yeah.
any last remarks? We're closing out now.
Before I cut out again, I just want to appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for the invite, and anytime I'm available and I can be on the show, I love to be here. And I appreciate you guys. It was good questions and answers, and I love every minute of it.
Peace. Always love having you too, man. That's why we asked you.
That's why we asked you.
Always love having you.
You have so much potential, and your music is wonderful, and you keep it up. You know, we watching and we support you.
I appreciate y'all, man. Lord continue to bless you, beautiful couple. Good night. I'm out of here.
Good night.
All right, good night.
All right. And so this is Sparkling Yakarious, and we are
Reality Speaks TV with real talk.
We're real people, right?
Real talk, real time.
And real time. Real
Right.
people, real talk, and real time. Until next time, everybody. Good night.
Peace.